2020, with all the excitement, a new era, a new decade, and we all thought 2020 is going to be a very good year. But fast forward to 3 months later, lightning struck. COVID came around, and the whole world was in full lockdown, in quarantine, and following the COVID restriction rules. It's a tough period for everyone, a tough time, and everyone is struggling to cope with the pandemic. Schools being shut, shops being closed, can't see friends and families. It's tough. But I ask myself why. Why has COVID affected everyone's lives during this tough period? I went to ask a few members, students, and the staff, and I asked them for their thoughts and opinions on how COVID has affected their lives during this tough period.
It has changed the way you do your daily routines, so you're more sort of trapped in the idea that you can't do certain things that are normal to you, like having to wear masks, you have to think about things that you would.
But I tried to study online. I did never do before, and it's a good experience to try study online, because now a lot of people stay in internet, and I think that study online, it's a future, and people will start to study online.
You managed to adjust to it?
I'd probably say thinking in a positive mindset of it's not going to be this way forever. So just thinking there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Then having a conscience of what you feel is responsible for you as well. So although there are government guidelines on what they think is right, doing your own research into what's actually happening in the world, where it's affected, and what you can do yourself to actually see the difference. So the idea of actually knowing as much as you can about the COVID strains and all the implications of it, who's it affecting, it just gives you a better understanding of how you can look through it.
Just understood that it's now we have to stay at home and to be careful in streets, to use hand sanitizer and wear a mask, that it's good for us, so you just do it and don't think about it.
And what do you think of the government's handling of the pandemic?
I think they did good that they start to give money for people, because in other countries, such Russia, where I am from, they didn't get money for this time when people lost their jobs, and I think that the government did well for people. They tried to did well for people.
I feel like Lockdown 1 was necessary just because we didn't know enough about it, so you can't really argue with that. But then the more information and science behind things that they've come up with, and the studies that they've drawn up, I think they've taken a wrong turn in what they've decided to do, which affects everyone worse. So people that are affected by COVID, the large proportion of them are 65 and over, and then the people that are at highest risks are 85 and over, but then they've trapped people that are 50 under, people that have got their lives and are creating those, especially those age group of 16 to 32 or 35, where you're sort of creating a life for yourself, and it's probably the most struggle to get things sorted. Those people have struggled, and you see that suicide rates and mental health have taken a big hit in that age group compared to the older group. So it's actually had although they're trying to save the older population, it's having a detrimental effect to the people that have a younger age group, which is going to be long-standing for people of that age group when they get older. So if you think about how COVID is going to affect shops and retail, how we live our life, freedom of movement, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, and businesses. People have started businesses this year, last year, and those businesses have probably gone bankrupt because of the whole COVID situation, because even though they probably shouldn't have needed to be. And you could argue that those people that didn't adapt to the COVID situation, like you see a lot of shops go online, a lot of PTs go online. If you didn't have that, you couldn't do that, but then you have the less fortunate people in hospitality that have had to move and balance themselves about the guidelines, and they're not profiteering from it, they're just trying to stay safe. But it just doesn't feel like the government have had the best interest at heart for the young population. And then you've got the impact of police, and they're taking away human rights in terms of you're not allowed to, it does seem that you're not allowed to protest peacefully. Obviously there's arguments that it brings a mass gathering of people, but that's what they're protesting about, with that age group. And then if you look at how the media, the mass media of hysteria that they've caused, and the cherry picking of information that they've done to sort of scare the population into believing that it's a much worse situation than it actually is. Although people are dying, I think the statistics show that 850,000 people died of common flu in 2018, which is more than what people have died of COVID this year. So you compare the hysteria and the fear that the media has caused.
Coming in this week, do you think the vaccine will have a good impact on everyone?
I think not for all people, but for most of them, yes.
Yes and no. Yes, it'll have an impact, because I feel like, depending on the way they do it, if they give it to people that are vulnerable and older people that could benefit from it, then it will allow the younger people that have not an immunity, but a lesser risk of contraction, and not even contraction, because I feel like if you contract it, it doesn't matter, you contract everything. That's what you take your risk of, getting the flu, getting colds. That's what bacteria happens in your body. But it's that risk to life. If it reduces the risk to life for those people of an older generation, then I think it's a good idea.
What has lockdown taught you?
That I can't see my friends and can't go in the street when I want.
Do you feel people find it difficult when we went to lockdown? Do you think they found it very tough to adjust to life at home, especially during the pandemic?
Yeah, because they did never do it before, and it was something new for them. They didn't understand how to behave, but with time they start to feel good.
To appreciate the small things. I feel like it's been going a long time, specifically in a younger age group, that materialism is just increasing. The need to want everything now, and regardless, and sort of not looking at what people have already. So I feel like people are building up an appreciation for things that they might not already have, more time to think about things. It's allowed people to look at their life and actually think, is this what I want to do, and what I see my life doing for the next 10, 20 years? And if they haven't, they've had a positive impact. So COVID has almost woken people up to their own lives forcefully, whereas that might have taken a bit more time, or they may never have got there. So I feel like COVID has allowed that to happen. And just the appreciation for small things, people around you, and what you actually want in life, bigger than a car, a house, sort of stuff, which you don't leave this earth on with.
Well, appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
What would you say if the vaccine goes well? Do you think things could start to come back to normal, or do you think they should take it step by step?
I hope that in one day they will say that coronavirus doesn't exist anymore and we will start to live how we lived before the coronavirus.
Okay, thank you for your time, Vali. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So there you have it. It goes to show that life in COVID can be very, very tough. But if we keep sticking to the rules, things will start coming back to normal. The vaccine's on its way. 2020 is coming to an end. Will things be back to normal as it was? Or will it change for the better? We'll soon find out by the start of 2021.